everyone, Daniel Vasquez here at Sport Inspired Therapy of Marin. I'm the wellness director here. I'm also a certified athletic trainer and I am a certified golf fitness instructor. And today what I'd like to do is share with you a few exercises that you can do from home. And these are primarily designed for those individuals who find that they're having a little bit less mobility in their lives. So maybe you have a hip replacement, you're just not getting around very well. Maybe you use a walker for balance or you use a cane to get yourself walking throughout your day. And these are some exercises that you can do from the comfort of your own home. If you happen to use a walker, that's certainly fine. I'm going to go ahead and use that for the demonstration here. You can also use a countertop in a kitchen, a nice sturdy chair, a nice sturdy table, but anything that you're going to use needs to be really supportive and make sure it doesn't move a whole lot. So for starters, what we're going to do is I'm going to stand with my hands on the walker here so that I'm supporting myself. My feet are about shoulder width apart and they're facing straight ahead. And the first exercise I'm going to do is I'm going to raise myself up onto my tippy toes, onto the balls of my feet. Now, from the side, one of the most common mistakes on this one is that people will sort of push their butt forward into that position. That makes it a lot of it easier, but it also is not as beneficial as if you're just going straight up toward the ceiling. Okay, my hands are balanced here on the walker. Okay, you can also hold onto a countertop as mentioned earlier or the back of a chair. Okay, so for that exercise I like to do that about 10 to 15 repetitions. Okay, and the second exercise I'm going to have you do I call marching. Okay, and just make sure you're holding on to the whatever you're using for support, and you're going to lift your right knee up so that it's right in front of your hip, and then you're going to lift that leg up and you're going to do 10 to 15 repetitions on the right leg, and then you'll switch over to the left leg. Okay. Now on that one, it's really important again that you stay nice and tall through your torso. Okay. The next exercise we're going to do, I'm still holding on to the walker. I like to have the walker just a little bit more out in front of me, and the only reason is because when I go sideways, I don't want to kick my leg against the walker here. Okay. So again, I have the chair behind me in case I decide I want to sit or I lose my balance, I can just have a seat. So from this position here, I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to move it sideways like a pendulum on a clock, trying to make sure that my foot stays facing forward. Now on this one, you want to make sure that you're not leaning to the side as you do that. This isn't a matter of how far you can move your leg. This is just moving your leg, keeping the rest of your body still. Okay. Again, I like to do 10 to 15 repetitions on the right leg and then switch over so I'm doing 10 to 15 repetitions on the left leg. Okay. The next one I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and show you from my profile because it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to turn myself sideways here. And again, I'm holding onto the walker. I'm staying nice and tall with my torso. And I'm going to take my heel and I'm going to bring it up towards my butt. So it's like you're kicking yourself in the butt. Okay? Now that exercise there, what can happen sometimes is you can get a little cramp in the back of your leg here. And if that happens, just take your leg, sort of stick it out in front of you, just to stretch it out a little bit. You can also try to not lift it up quite as high initially until you develop enough strength. Okay? So again, you're going to do 10 to 15 repetitions on either leg. And then the last exercise I like you to do, I do find that this works pretty well if you have a chair behind you. You just want to make sure you're not touching the chair with your legs. Okay? So I'm going to do what we call a little mini squat. So I'm going to stand with my feet about shoulder width apart. Again, my hands are on the walker for balance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I'm going to sit down toward this chair, but I'm only going to go about halfway down, and then I'm going to come back up. And then I'm going to lower myself down, but I'm only going to go about halfway and then come back up. Now I'm going to demonstrate this from my profile view as well, because I think it's important to see the mechanics of my butt. So again, my feet are about shoulder width apart. I'm holding onto the walker. There's not a chair behind me at this moment. What I want you to do is imagine that you're sitting back in the chair. And you can see my knees here. They're not drifting forward into that position. My butt's going back and I'm bending at my waist and I'm bending at my knees. And only go down as low as you can comfortably go. Okay? Now to make it more challenging, you can sort of go down and gently tap the chair and then come back up. And as you're doing that, make sure that your knees are not going together like so, that you're keeping them in alignment with your shoulders and your hips. Okay? And again, I like to do about 10 to 15 repetitions like that. Okay? Once you finish those exercises, take about 30 seconds or a minute, and then repeat each one of those exercises, again, another 10 to 15 repetitions for each exercise. I like to do that a few times a week. Daily is fantastic. You can do it twice a day, but start off easy. Maybe start off once a day, and then gradually ease into that. The goal is to do 2 sets of 15 repetitions almost every day if possible. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to call the office. If you want to make an appointment with me or come in to see one of our therapists, please call the office. We'd be happy to help you out. Thank you very much and enjoy the exercise.